Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Adya Juneja and this is Speed News. Let's start with all the stories making headlines today. US President Donald Trump said he was halting the US military operation to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz after just one day. Well, this in a bid to reach a deal with Iran to end the West Asia war. Trump said on his Truth social network, and I quote him here, Project Freedom will be paused for a short period of time to see whether or not the agreement can be finalized and signed. Well, President Donald Trump dismissed Iran's military capability and said Tehran should wave the white flag of surrender, but is too proud to do so. Trump told reporters in the Oval Office that Iran's military has been reduced to firing pea shooters and that Tehran privately wants to make a deal despite its public saber-rattling. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the United States has completed its offensive operations against Iran. Rubio told reporters at the White House that the operation is over, as the president notified Congress. The Secretary of State also reiterated that U.S. efforts to reopen the strait is not an offensive operation, despite clashes with Iran in the last several days. The White House had earlier informed lawmakers that the war had terminated due to the ceasefire, avoiding a legal requirement to ask Congress to authorize a conflict that goes beyond 60 days. Iran's military denied launching any attacks on the United Arab Emirates in recent days after the Gulf country accused Iran of launching drone and missile barrages. And the UAE said on Tuesday that its air defenses were engaging missiles and drones which are coming from Iran for the second consecutive day. The UAE had also accused Iran on Monday of targeting it with fresh barrage, including a strike on an energy installation in the Emirati of Fujairah, calling the attack a dangerous escalation. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi arrived in Beijing ahead of scheduled talks with China's top diplomat Wang Yi, according to Iran's Tasnim and Fars news agency. Well, Fars also reported Abbas Araghchi will discuss bilateral relations, regional and international developments with his Chinese counterpart. Israel's new Air Force commander said that the military is prepared to deploy its full air power eastward towards Iran if necessary amid heightened regional tensions. Israel Defense Forces Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir said during the ceremony that the military maintains high readiness and is prepared to forcefully respond if Iran targets Israel in the wake of recent escalation in the Gulf. Russian attacks on cities in eastern Ukraine killed at least 25 people, including 12 in one of the worst strikes so far this year. The attack came hours before the deadline for a proposal from Kiev for an open-ended ceasefire to begin at midnight. Video released on Tuesday showed firefighters spraying water on burning vehicles and what appeared to be a body covered with a white blanket in Kramatorsk in the Donetsk region. While the date when the video was filmed could not be independently verified, however, the Donetsk regional governor said the attack happened on May 5th. A man shot 5 people, killing 2 in back-to-back shootings at a shopping center and then at an apartment building in Dallas. The first shooting happened just before 10 a.m. local time at a shopping center in a suburb north of Dallas. When police arrived, they found 4 adults who had been shot. While they were investigating, another shooting was reported at an apartment complex roughly 4 miles away, and responding officers found a dead man inside one of the apartments. Investigators determined the suspect, 69-year-old Suing Ho Hang, carried out both of the shootings. Well, he was arrested at a nearby grocery store after a short chase on foot. The U.S. Justice Department added a charge of assault on a federal officer with a deadly weapon to the case against the man accused of trying to assassinate President Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Washington Hilton last month. The new charge, which formally accuses the suspect Cole Allen of firing at a U.S. Secret Service agent at a security checkpoint, is part of a new 4-count indictment returned by a federal jury in Washington. The other 3 counts are charges Allen previously faced, including attempted assassination, discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence, and illegal transportation of a firearm and ammunition across state lines. The U.S. military, in a message on X, released images of what it says is a deadly strike on an alleged drug trafficking boat in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The U.S. Southern Command says the strike killed 3 suspected drug traffickers. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio downplayed the rift Tuesday between President Donald Trump and Pope Leo ahead of his visit to the Vatican. Rubio told reporters at the White House on Tuesday that Trump's recent criticism of the first American pontiff was rooted in his opposition to Iran potentially obtaining a nuclear weapon, which could be used against millions of Catholics and other Christians around the world. The New York Times was sued by U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which accused the newspaper of passing over a white man for a top editorial role because of his race and gender in order to meet illegal diversity goals. In a complaint filed in Manhattan Federal Court, the EEOC said the Times discriminated against the male candidate based on his race or sex, violating Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. A teenager opened fire at a school in northeast Brazil on Tuesday, killing 2 staff members and wounding a third, as well as a student. The local government said that a 13-year-old boy was arrested on suspicion of carrying out the attack in Rio Branco, capital of Arc State. An attack at the Barca Tolorom military base on the shores of Lake Chad left at least 23 dead and several wounded. Well, the General Staff of the Armed Forces reiterated its commitment to combating the terrorists and reassured the Chadian people that the situation is under control. The death toll from a huge explosion at a fireworks factory in central China has risen to 26, with 61 more injured, according to officials. The explosion occurred on Monday afternoon at the Liuyang Haosheng Fireworks Manufacturing and Display Company in Liuyang, Hunan Province. An urgent sea-to-air rescue is unfolding off Cape Verde, where passengers infected with the deadly hantavirus are being evacuated from a cruise ship by boat ahead of critical air ambulance transfers. Evacuation boats moved in at Praia port on Tuesday, pulling infected passengers off the Dutch cruise vessel MV Hormuz. Visuals show the sick being ferried to shore as the first layer of a complex rescue operation kicks in. Well, the next step is already lined up. Cape Verde's health ministry says 3 infected passengers will be airlifted out of 2 specialized air ambulances within hours. A cruise operator said 2 seriously ill crew members will be evacuated via Cape Verde to the Netherlands before heading to Spain. The World Health Organization says Spain is prepared to receive the vessel. The most likely destination is the Canary Island. Protesters marched up to Tennessee's capital as a special legislative session began that could carve up a majority black district in Memphis. Republican Governor Bill Lee called Tennessee lawmakers into a special session to consider a plan urged by Trump that could break up the state's lone Democratic-held U.S. House district centered on the majority black city of Memphis.
We have to fight back.
Weakening the collective voice of Tennesseans.
In India, a blast was reported after a scooter caught fire outside the BSF headquarters in Punjab's Jalandhar, triggering panic. The incident occurred around 8 p.m. local time, with locals reporting a blast-like sound before the vehicle burst into flames. CCTV footage showed people running for cover as the scooter burned, while police and fire teams quickly cordoned off the area and controlled the blaze. Forensic dog and bomb squads were deployed to investigate, and authorities are examining CCTV footage and questioning the rider. No casualties have been reported so far. The Election Commission issued a notification for the constitution of a new assembly in West Bengal following the completion of the electoral process in the state. The notification has been sent to the Governor of West Bengal, formally marking the end of the election cycle and setting the stage for the formation of a new government. A senior EC official said the issuance of the notification is a key constitutional step after the declaration of results. The notification paves the way for the swearing-in of elected representatives and the formation of the new government in the state. Well, this is what officials have said. Congress Political Affairs Committee unanimously decided to support TVK leader Vijay to form a secular government. This decision was taken after a virtual meeting of Congress held late night to decide on TVK's request for support to form the government in Tamil Nadu. Firefighters in southeastern Poland are facing an escalating crisis as a catastrophic wildfire in a Solska forest while it continues to burn. This incident has transitioned from a local emergency into a national tragedy due to a fatal aviation accident during the containment effort. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupted in what the United States Geological Survey labeled Episode 46 of lava fountaining. The volcano is currently in orange watch, which means is exhibiting heightened or escalating unrest with increased potential of eruption. According to the Geological Survey Tuesday's notice, the eruptive episode is unlikely to generate taller lava fountains from this point onwards. Apple has agreed to a $250 million settlement in a shareholder lawsuit over delays in its AI upgrades for the Siri voice assistant. Well, the case was filed in 2024 in a U.S. federal court in California after Apple prompted new AI features at its annual developer conference, claiming they would arrive with new iPhones later that year. However, the devices were launched without those promised features, leading shareholders to argue that the delay negatively impacted investor interest and value.
questions.
A top Google scientist has warned European Union antitrust regulators that proposals to share search data with rivals could compromise user privacy. The warning comes as the EU pushes new rules under its Digital Markets Act, which would require Google to share search engine data such as queries, click activity, and ranking information with competitors, including OpenAI. Well, Google says the plan could expose sensitive user information even if data is anonymized, arguing that modern AI systems may still be able to re-identify individual users. Meta is developing a highly personalized artificial intelligence assistant designed to handle everyday digital tasks for its billions of users across its apps. According to a Financial Times report, the company is working on agentic AI tools powered by a new internal model called MuSpark. The AI assistant is being tested internally by Meta staff and is aimed at performing more complex tasks with minimal human input, going beyond traditional chatbot functionality. Well, the system is said to be inspired by advanced AI tools that can connect multiple software systems and learn from user data more autonomously. South Korea's Kospi surged past 7,000 to a fresh record, leading gains across Asia-Pacific markets after strong cues from Wall Street. Investor sentiment improved as oil prices eased and diplomatic signals suggested de-escalation in West Asia. US President Donald Trump announced a temporary pause in naval escort operations in the Strait of Hormuz, raising hopes for a potential agreement. Tech heavyweights Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix jumped sharply, boosting the Kospi, while China and Australia markets also traded higher. Meanwhile, US markets hit record highs overnight, with the S&P 500 and Nasdaq extending their rallies on strong earnings momentum. Oil prices dropped over 1% after US President Donald Trump paused a naval escort mission in the Strait of Hormuz, signaling progress in talks with Iran. Brent and crude futures both declined as easing geopolitical tensions lifted market sentiment. The US move to halt Project Freedom comes just days after its launch, aimed at protecting commercial shipping routes, while officials say around 23,000 seafarers from 87 countries remain stranded in the Persian Gulf amid the ongoing disruption. Ratings agency Fitch Ratings upgraded Argentina to B- from CCC+ with a stable outlook, citing stronger fiscal discipline and progress on reforms under President Javier Milei. The agency highlighted improved external balances, better prospects for foreign reserves, and expectations of continued financing support, while the upgrade follows stronger political backing after the 2025 midterm elections, enabling key structural reforms in labor and mining sectors. However, Fitch warned vulnerabilities remain, including high inflation, weak reserves, and Argentina's history of economic instability, with growth forecast to moderate to 3.2% by 2026. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka said she was ready to boycott the Grand Slam tournaments in order to have a greater share of the prize money. Leading tennis players in Grand Slams have been at loggerheads for over a year now. Several players believe they receive an insufficient share of tournament revenues, even as those revenue continues to grow. Players are demanding a higher percentage of the revenue generated by the four majors, as well as benefit contributions and a greater say in areas such as scheduling. Jon Rahm has reached a deal with the European Tour that will allow him to retain his membership and remain eligible for next year's Ryder Cup. Rahm has reached an agreement similar to that signed by 8 other LIV golfers in February, while the Spaniard will pay all outstanding fines for playing in events that clashed with European Tour tournaments. Rahm has also agreed to play European Tour events for the remainder of this year. Holders PSG and Bayern Munich will face off with a place in the Champions League final up for grabs. The two European heavyweights delivered one of the greatest Champions League matches of all times last week when PSG edged Bayern 5-4 in Paris. The German champions will now host PSG. Munich. Another thrilling clash is on the card. Bayern are aiming to reach the final for the first time since 2020, which is also the last time they won the tournament. Meanwhile, PSG could become the first side since Liverpool in 2019 to reach back-to-back Champions League finals. The first Monday in May has once again proven to be fashion's most vital and dazzling night. The 2026 Met Gala officially raised a record-breaking $42 million for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. The staggering figure marks the highest amount ever collected in the history of the event. The financial boon will go directly towards the Costume Institute's operating budget, ensuring the department can continue its mission of preserving, curating and exhibiting centuries of sartorial history while advancing global fashion scholarship. Fans of the Wizarding World have a brand new way to experience the magic. A deeply researched podcast is officially set to release, revisiting all 8 of the original Harry Potter films. The upcoming audio series will feature behind-the-scenes retrospectives, deep dives into the lore, and fresh commentary, allowing listeners to experience the original cinematic journey from a completely new perspective. The highly anticipated sequel, Devil Wears Prada 2, has officially taken the top spot at the box office across the UK and Ireland. The sequel debuted at the #1 spot in the region with a collection of £9.3 million, that is nearly $12.6 million, while fans flocked to theatres over the weekend to witness the return of high-stakes fashion drama, sharp wit and cutting-edge couture. The sprawling cinematic journey of the King of Pop has moonwalked into the record books. Michael has officially become the second highest-grossing musical biopic in cinematic history. Driven by spectacular musical sequences, meticulous choreography and phenomenal global word of mouth, while the film continues to draw massive audiences, cementing its place as a monumental box office success. Durandar 2 has officially surpassed the lifetime worldwide collections of the Bahubali 2. The conclusion as of this week, the global gross of Durandar 2 stands at 1,789 crore rupees, that is around $215.5 million. Nearly a decade ago, S.S. Rajamouli's Bahubali 2 had earned 1,788 crore rupees, which is nearly $215.4 million. Durandar managed to achieve this mark despite facing ban in several international markets. Durandar 2 is now the second highest-grossing Indian film of all time on the global stage, sitting just behind Dangal's 2,024 crore rupees, which is nearly $244 million. A long-lost piece of cinematic history has finally seen the light of the day. The Last Tenant, an unreleased feature film starring Vidya Balan and the late legendary Irfan Khan, is now officially available for the public to watch. Shot a quarter of a century ago, the film had been locked away in the vaults. Its sudden widespread release after 25 years offers audiences a bittersweet and profoundly beautiful opportunity to witness a rare collaboration between two of Indian cinema's National Award-winning talents.